Alright, gotta do some unboxing. Where's my cutting tool for that? Perfect. Hi everybody, welcome to All Games New and Old. I'm David Rodriguez, and today I'm going to be unboxing Soldiers in Postmen's Uniform. Defense of the Polish Post Office in Danzig during the Second World War. Now, I backed this on Kickstarter, just recently got it. I don't usually go for realistic war games, at least not once we get to the age of gunpowder. It stops being interesting to me in general. That being said, World War II is more interesting to me. I feel like of all the wars, it's one where there is a absolute, definite, obvious bad guy. And while that makes me more interested in the war, it doesn't help me want to play a lot of the war games because usually it's a two-sided affair. Someone has to play the bad guys, which is usually the Germans. And the Germans at the time, of course, were not great, I'm going to say. Not going into full history. Obviously, very terrible people. The, notoriously evil baddies of the last century, I would say, for sure. I mean, there have definitely been other people that are horrible other places as well, but I think the Nazis are regarded pretty far and wide as amongst the worst of the worst. And so I'm never really comfortable with the idea of playing them, even though, these games take place from like a far off viewpoint. You're not getting into like the nitty gritty of the awful stuff they did, obviously, but I don't know. It still feels kind of icky to me. That's not to disparage anyone that doesn't feel that way. If you like playing World War II games and you don't mind playing the Germans, that's fine. I don't think that makes... I don't have any judgment about that whatsoever. It's just something that makes me feel weird. I don't like to do it in general. And I generally like playing the bad guys in games, which is why I think I tend more towards things that are more of a fantasy nature, or things that are so far back that it's like no one is still personally hurt by what went on. So the difference of this is a single player game. So it's purely solo, plays in 60 to 75 minutes. And I'll give you the little rundown of what it says here on the back. It says, Soldiers in Postmen's Uniforms is a skirmish-level solitaire game that takes place in the free city of Danzig on the first day of the Second World War. Danzig came into being in 1920 in accordance with the 1919 Treaty of Versailles. Over the next 2 decades, the city became a flashpoint in Polish-German relations, which culminated in the Danzig Crisis of 1939. On the first day of the Second World War, German forces moved in to seize the Polish Postal Office No. 1. The personnel of the post office repulsed repeated assaults and were forced to surrender only after a day-long siege, when the post office was doused with gasoline and set alight. Though German propaganda cast these acts of defiance as futile and a failure, they were viewed by the Polish people as symbolic of their stand against a materially superior aggressor. In Soldiers in Postmen's Uniforms, you take control of the valiant defenders of Polish Postal Office No. 1. Under your command, the defenders must fend off relentless attacks from the Danzig police and 2 German SS units. So, I hadn't actually heard of that particular story. I actually kind of want to research a little more after this game, but I may have mentioned it in one or two of my videos. I am actually a mail carrier, which is probably part of what made this stand out to me. God willing, I'll never have to do anything like this in real life, but regardless, this is what we've got. So let's open this thing up. This is another, I know I say this every unboxing, and it's just a matter of it's going to take time to be able to, I don't know if I can cut through this, to get through all these, but I would love to do a review of this. It's probably a good time to bring up that there are games that have certain topics that I will not be doing a special character for. My special characters or my special guests are all lighthearted, goofy for the most part, and that's awesome for 99% of the games. There are a few games where the topic at hand I feel is maybe a little too serious, and I don't want to be disrespectful of people who experienced some of those serious things. Obviously, this would be, I feel, one case of that. There's other games. I'm sure everyone knows at least a few out there that maybe wouldn't be really appropriate, or I may not be able to make a character that is appropriate to the setting without it also being insensitive in other ways. Like if something is set entirely in ancient Japan, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna try to mimic someone who's Japanese because that's horrible. I think some people might try that, and I think that's an awful idea. If it's of a setting where I have a friend who wants to do that, who is of that group, whatever it might be, and they want to come in and do something, then that maybe is different. But it's going to depend. I feel like I'm kind of babbling because it's just such a tricky topic. I just want it, understood that there may be times where I choose not to do a character, and it's going to be just purely based on being sensitive to others, or if I just feel like it's icky, for whatever reason. And this is one of them. I'm not going to deal with, I definitely wouldn't play a Nazi character, but I don't want to play, I don't want to make something goofy out of something that is actually serious, personally. Other people do, and you can judge that however you like. I honestly don't know what I would think of that, but I just know that I'm not going to choose to do that personally. So, enough of that. Here's the rule book. Lots of really nice color pictures in here. So this has the kind of rule set up where you have like 1.0, playing the game, 1.1, game overview, 1.2, morale. Which is a nice way to organize it. Every time I see that, though, my brain immediately goes like, oh, this is going to be intimidating. And I don't know if that's accurate, but I always feel like, okay, I really need to be ready because this is going to be a complicated affair here. I don't have too many games that do that. I think one of the other ones I played fairly recently was Dark Domains, which is not a realistic war game by any stretch. But it also had that same kind of organization. And it is a fairly complicated game. So there are variants here, different difficulties. I wonder, I'd have to, I don't know for sure if you're trying to simulate a situation where you can actually win, like overcome the bad guys, or if it's more of surviving as long as you can. I suppose the second would be more accurate to history, what little I know of it. But we'll see. All right, so, wow. Okay, get this board out here. Wow, this feels like a big board. All right, I'm moving the box aside for the moment. Oh, boy, this is big. I got to admit, wow, holy smokes. I actually didn't expect this to be a very large footprint game. I'm really weird when it comes to looking at Kickstarters because I don't dig too deep usually, unless I'm really on the fence about something. I just don't like to. I like to be surprised by stuff when I get there, so I get an idea of what the game is like and what sort of gameplay it is, and that's about as far as I go. I might look at the components a little bit, but beyond that, I like to be sort of surprised. So this is, it's not like the biggest board I've ever played on, but it's very sizable. I'll be honest, I thought it was going to be maybe half this size. The board is really super glossy. You might be able to tell you're getting some glare from my my lights over here, so I apologize for that, but if I turn on the overhead lights, it would be probably far worse. So, wow. So you have like the basement, the ground floor, and the upper floors of the post office. I'm assuming these are all these places where probably bad guys, Nazis can be. We have some kind of a morale tracker. We have a Bold, Shaken, Panicked, which I'm guessing you don't want to get panicked very much. So there's all kinds of numbers on here. I'm not sure what they are indicating so far. So there's a few entrances on here. I'm not sure if this is something where like they specifically will breach the building or how it works. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. It's a really nice board though. It's really pretty. Yeah, wow, I'm impressed. I saw the pictures of it, but I didn't look at it in scale compared to other things. So I am very shocked by how big this board is. I was surprised when I saw the box actually too, because I was expecting a smaller box as well. Alright, so let me get the box back up here. Okay. Alright, so there's a lot of, the color is not super bright beyond the board, which is okay. I think that's pretty appropriate. Now, it has a bunch of characters here, and I'm wondering if these are actual people from history. I mean, they definitely look like old-timey photos. I mean, I'm sure you could recreate that if you wanted to. But I'm fascinated to find out. I'd love to know if these are actually specific people. I really want to research this incident. If you know of any, I don't know, documentaries or books or anything like that that maybe would help me learn more about it, I'd love to see that. So you have some grenades, various guns. I don't know if these are bad guy soldiers or whatnot. I'm assuming. Okay, so here's more people that I almost feel weird saying characters. I don't know if that's quite right, if they're actual people to call them characters, but okay. I don't know what all these tokens could do. Like, there's some ammo looking ones. I'm not sure what the arrows do or the stars or the shields. Specifically, SS riflemen. So yeah, most of these tokens are all bad guys. I don't know if this is one where you're really like fighting back. I'm not sure. I think it'd feel good to take out some SS guys for sure. And like, I don't know if all these guys are postmen or if any of them were the bad guys or not. I don't want to assume that any of them were the bad guys and besmirch the names of these people, because that just seems like it'd be bad. So a lot of kind of similar stuff. This has little lightning bolts, targets. Or some that are just pure black spots. I'm not sure what they do. Or if they, I wonder if that's something specific or if they're just sort of extras. We'll see. Getting down towards the bottom. Infantry guns. So, I mean, it seems like it could be a pretty intense game. I mean, you're up against ridiculous forces. Okay, removal priority list. Clearing phase. So is this... Okay. I'm wondering if this is... Wow, reference cards for each phase. Looks like it could be. Okay, well. There's a lot. Okay, so I've got a lot of cubes here. Gray, blue, black, red, yellow, and white. Mostly gray and yellow, looks like. I'm not sure what they will be. Some dice. These are interesting. The blacks look like they go up to 12. Or actually, hold on. I think one of the black ones goes 1 through 6 and the other one goes 7 through 12. So that's kind of interesting. Okay. Have tactics and attack cards. I'm debating whether or not I should open these or not. And they're timed too. So like attack 2 midday. This tactics 3 evening. So I think these are going to be mostly like bigger versions of the pictures that were on the tokens. Let me see if I can open one and find out. I'd be interested in hearing how other people feel about playing some of these war games. Does it feel strange to you? Is there like a cutoff date that you don't want to play anything later than or earlier than? I feel, especially if you get into like very modern wars, like I don't know, I really don't want to play a game based on that for the most part. I don't know. I don't know if it is a disrespectful thing to do to make a game out of something that is fairly fresh like that or not. And I hate to say that because, again, I don't have anything against anyone who does enjoy that. Like, it's fine, whatever. It's just maybe my preference. I don't want to, sometimes I just don't feel great about it. And I don't know if I have to feel that way. That could be entirely something that I'm making up in my head. That, like, people who may be alive who have gone to war or may have been close to someone who is no longer alive who went to one of our more modern wars. Like, I wonder how they would feel coming across me playing a game about what they have been through. And maybe they'd be like, oh, wow, that's really cool. That's very accurate. And I'm guessing that would probably just depend on the individual, to be honest. So just all kinds of enemy units here. I'm not sure. So it has a lot of specific rules on here. Grenade bundle, barrier, 1, remove card from game. So I don't know what that means yet. Gart leader. Ugh. All right. Plays 1 to 2. Blue dot. Remove card to from game. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to need to learn because these, you know, the text on these doesn't mean much to me right now. But I'm sure it will as I read the rules and try it out. I tried to look and see if there was any how to play videos online. I wasn't seeing any yet. So I don't know if I'll beat anyone to it. And because, you know, when I do my reviews, I never meant to like do like a full on how to play in them, but I go over so many of the rules that it's awfully close to being a how to play if it's not. You might want to reference a few extra things after seeing that just to make sure I didn't miss anything or gloss over something that's important. But, you know, I do cover the majority of the rules of a game in my reviews. So if you want to learn how to play a game, that might not be a terrible way to do it, although my focus is not teaching the entire game. But, yeah, so that is the war game Soldiers and Postmen's Uniforms. I'm curious to try this. This is, again, you know, it's stepping out of my wheelhouse, which I've been trying to do lately, especially since I'm doing reviews. I don't want to just talk about one, well, what some people would view as one type of game. I feel like I do more than that, but, you know. I want to kind of try a few different things. And this one, as I said, it's in the modern war that's probably most interesting to me, and then no one has to play the bad guys in it, which is great. And it also has a tie to my current employment in a way. So I'm excited to try it. It's got a pretty big rule book, so I'm going to have to fight through that, I think. I usually will look up a how to play video first if they're available and then read the rule book. And so far, it doesn't look like that's going to be a possibility of this one. So I may just have to suffer through it. But at least it's a solo game, so I don't have to make anyone sit there and watch me try to dig through the rules. So anyway, if this is a game that you were thinking about getting, I hope seeing some of the components has given you more insight into what's in this box. And I'm hoping that I will like it. And if you saw this and said, well, I want to get that, I hope if you get it, you like it too. I'd love to hear it. If any of you have played it before I get around to a review, I'd still love to hear your thoughts on it. Maybe it'll get me kind of excited for it, or at least let me know what I'm in for with it. That would be great. So if this video has been helpful and you've enjoyed it, if you would hit like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And click the little bell icon so you'll know the next time I put out a video. Beyond that, I look forward to seeing you all around the table again next time at All Games New and Old. Bye.